what we're seeing is a vision of education in relationship to the economy. And this is something to really think about. When, Marc Tucker's organization is called the Center for Economy and Education, or Education in the Economy, and the idea is that education should serve the economy. And I think some progressives or educators buy into this idea because you want to get businesses to support education. And why should businesses support education? Well, the only reason they'll support it, I suppose, is if it benefits their bottom line in somehow. And so then you end up trying to engineer the education system around the needs of corporations and around the needs of corporate profits. And there's a problem with that in our current economy. There's all this talk about how the economy needs people to be so much better prepared and so on, needs critical thinkers. And then for some reason we create a testing system that declares 2/3 of our students to be not proficient. 70% of the kids are, the Common Core tests are designed to declare 70% of the kids not proficient. So, and the rhetoric is that we're going to prepare everyone for college and career. But the reality is, what we're doing is we're making tests so difficult that only the top 20 or 30% of the students can be labeled ready for college and career. I read a really interesting study from Oxford University which predicts that in the United States in the next 20 years, the workforce will shrink by 47% because of advances in technology. Things like driverless cars, 2 million people in the country work driving vehicles. So when the driverless car comes, is perfected, all those bus drivers, truck drivers, and so on are going to be out of work. So there's this idea that the economy of the future needs all these people who are really highly trained. The reality is the economy of the future actually needs fewer and fewer workers. And so there's, in a sense, what my concern is, are we creating a system that simply ranks and sorts people and tells, and in a sense justifies the unemployment, chronic unemployment for a whole sector of our population that the economy of the future doesn't really have jobs for? And then when they look, are we trying to, in a sense, condition those people to believe that they actually don't deserve jobs or careers because they aren't college and career ready? Because otherwise, why would you create a system that labels 2/3 of the students inadequate and not ready for college and career? So that's the real problem I have with the, when you go to match the rhetoric with the reality of these tests, it doesn't line up. If you want to create college and career, if you want to make colleges accessible for everybody, then why don't you make college free for everybody? Why don't you make college loans affordable? Right now, students are graduating with huge debts, and nobody is interested in making that. I mean, there's a few people talking about trying to, Elizabeth Warren has talked about why is it that we allow the banks to borrow money at 0% interest, but the U.S. government is actually profiting from loans to students. The Department of Education gets money from the loans that students take out. So why is the U.S. government actually profiting from debt enslavement of the next generation of students? If what our goal is to make college, available to as many people as possible. And fundamentally, why aren't we looking at how to reshape our economy so that there are jobs, so that there are more jobs? Because I think a lot of people are now graduating from college and finding that in spite of having a bachelor's degree, the jobs that they hoped would be there aren't there. And that's, so I think if we're not really willing to look at how our economy is structured, how wages are set, if we are only set, if what we say is what's good for the economy is what's good for corporate bottom lines, then actually we have an economy that doesn't serve most of our students very well at all. And if we're not capable of challenging that, then who's the defender of the status quo in this situation?